Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you today about why consistent posting on Facebook is going to make your direct messages in private more effective. So, we all know consistency is key, right? Uh, a year ago, I started going to the gym and I started working with a trainer to help me with my posture. As I slouch to you in this video, I'm gonna sit up straight now. Sally will be so proud. Okay, so a year ago, I decided I would go to the gym and I would work on my posture. I really didn't like that my shoulders just were naturally rolled, and I was just always slouching, and it was giving me headaches and all of that. So I thought if I strengthen my chest and my back and my core, then I'm going to be able to have a result of something that is going to be positive in my life. And so I told Sally I can commit to 2 days a week. That's all. That's all I can commit. If I do any more than that, I'm going to quit. So I have been consistent in 2 times a week, an hour each time for 1 year straight. And I have had the most amazing results, you guys. I'm super strong. I can do pull-ups now. I can do push-ups, even though I hate them. And I have really great, look at that. I have great muscle tone. My bat wings don't flap as much as they used to. But why? Why have I had these results? Because I've been consistent, okay? So what does this have to do with Facebook posting, Emily? And how is this going to help me be more successful in my direct messages? The answer is trust. You have to show up on social media to build trust. Before Plexus, I had a blog that I showed up every single day for 7 years straight in. I never missed a day. It was sort of like my free therapy. I went through tons of issues with postpartum depression. I had 4 kids in 7 years. I was a basket case. And I found that my blog was an outlet for those really hard days. And so every night, Sean, after dinner, if Sean was home, he would take the kids, he would put them in the bath while I would clean up dinner, and then I would take pictures from my camera, because that was even before we had pictures on our phones all the time. But I would take pictures from my camera, or as I had my last 2 babies, we finally had phones with cameras, but I would upload my pictures from my phone or my camera to my computer, and I would write about a story that was challenging me during my day that day as a mom. Again, this is before Instagram. Facebook was a thing, but it wasn't the way that it is now. There were no such thing as Facebook Lives or anything like that. And so what I did though is I would be really reflective about my day. And so for example, when one of my kids, I remember when I was nursing one of my babies, I think I was nursing my 4th baby, and Mackenzie painted Chase and herself green. Got the paint out, painted themselves, they've stripped down into their underwear and painted themselves green. And in the moment, I was just so overwhelmed because it was March, or I can't remember what it was, you guys. It was not a great moment where I walk out into my garage and there's green paint everywhere and all over them, and I've got this baby, and all I could think about was, I'm failing. And so I snapped a picture, and by the end of the day, when I went to go write about that story, I had a more reflective attitude about things. And so I would sit and I would write out, this is what happened. This is exactly how it happened. I would relive it in my mind, and I would write out the story. And then at the end of the story, I would say, and you know what? I remember just being so angry because I was so exhausted and I was so frustrated that I couldn't control my kids, and they were out painting themselves green. But you know what? It made for a great St. Patrick's Day picture, and honestly, it all washed off in the bath, and tomorrow's a new day. And just sharing vulnerably about how I felt in that moment on that day as a mom, and then how I felt by the end of the day, and giving people that insight into my mind and into what I was going through. I did that over and over every single day. I let people into my mind and my heart in that way for 7 years straight. I showed up every single day for them, whether they read my blog or not. So then when Instagram started happening right at that time, that was almost 7 years ago now, that I've been on Instagram. I joined Instagram because my sister moved to India and she had the app, and she's like, have you heard of this little app? It's called Instagram. And I said, no, I've never heard of it before. She's like, well, this is the way that I'm going to be able to keep in touch with you while I'm in India. So I signed up for the app, and I only had like 20 or 30 people following me, and I just shared pictures there every couple of days. And again, for the last 7 years, every single day, I've been showing up on Instagram in some way. I've missed a day here or there. Like, that's going to happen naturally. It's good for the soul to sometimes not check in with your social media, but I show up consistently over time. What does that do for a community online? It builds trust. It builds trust, and it shows people that you are there pouring into them. You are there showing them, this is what's going on in my life. This is what's going on in my head. This is the aha moment that I had. This is the struggle that I had. This is what we're doing in our life. And as you show up putting out your content, and then you are liking and commenting and showing up in their content, your relationship building with them, again, trust. You're putting the money in the bank account, the piggy bank of trust. You're showing up, okay? So how does this play into Plexus, Emily? You're still wondering this, right? Well, what you do in your personal life is what you will see mirrored in your business. So if you're showing up in your personal life on social media, it's going to speak volumes in your business. However, you also need to post about your business and your product. So doing that, showing up in that way consistently as a part of your presence on social media is like putting gasoline on a fire, on a flame, and it's just literally going to explode it as you remain consistent. So what does that look like? Well, when I first started learning about Plexus, I was posting about Plexus and I was posting about my personal life. I'm just going to be transparent and say I posted a little bit too much about Plexus in the beginning and turned some people off, but it happens to the best of us. It's okay. Even when you do it wrong, like I did, you can still make it to diamond, okay? So I even have people messaging me that first month saying, were you hacked? Did you get hacked? Somebody's taken over your page and they're sharing all these weird weight loss stories and health issue things. I had so many people ask me if I was hacked, you guys. That's how bad it was. I know. So I got better over time. I got a better balance of that. And the balance has changed over the last 4 years that I've been doing this. Sometimes, especially as the algorithm has changed. In the beginning, when I started this, it was really okay to post 3 times about Plexus and 3 times personal. That was the thing that people did back then because you didn't see the posts at night that you did in the morning. So, but that's different now. We can't be doing that anymore because people will get annoyed with that, right? So as times have changed, as social media has adapted, I've adapted with it. And I just always feel like that 80-20 rule is going to help you on social media. So 80% about your personal life and 20% about Plexus is the rule that I like to follow. That's the rule of thumb that I go by. Sometimes I post a little bit more in my stories on Instagram, especially because you can do it in a way that's not so much in your face. You can do it more in curiosity and it's fine. It serves well there. So it's really a trial and error process. But the biggest thing that I want you to hear in this video is that I can't tell you how many times, you guys, I have people message me and they say, oh my gosh, I've been following you for, a year and I'm just so inspired by your family life and I want to hear about your Plexus stuff. I've heard about it from a friend before, but she hasn't posted about it in forever, so I'm pretty sure she's not selling it anymore. You guys, I literally can't even count on all my fingers and toes how many times people have said that to me. And what I typically do is I say, listen, tell me who your friend's name is. Let me see if I know her. She probably still does sell it. Let's do a little bit of reaching out first. But most of the time, the people have given up and they've quit. But the only way to fail at network marketing, here's the secret. Do you want to know the only way to fail? It's to quit. That's the only way to fail. Because if you just never give up, you are going to have success. You're going to see the fruits of your labors unless you quit. And when you quit, you automatically self-sabotage yourself so that you can't succeed. And so how do you self-sabotage yourself on social media? You stop showing up. You stop showing up in your personal life. You stop posting about Plexus. You stop sharing your story. You stop sharing other people's stories. And when you do this, you lose trust. And trust is the number one reason why people will buy your product or not, whatever company you are in. They buy from you because they trust you. They buy from you because they like you. If you have a hard time signing people up, that's what you need to work on. You need to build on trust and you need to build likability. How to Win Friends and Influence People is one of the best books that I recommend to people. I read it in college when I was working in-house for a network marketing company in Rexburg, Idaho. And the only books that we could read while we were at work on the phones, if the phones were slow, we could read 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. We could read How to Win Friends and Influence People. And there were a couple of other approved self-help books that we could read. So I would sit when it would be slow and I would read these self-help books. And that one, I don't care how good you are at your social skills, that book is going to teach you how to be even better. It's going to help you be more likable. It's going to help you how to relate to people. Another book that I really, really love is Taylor Hartman's The People Code. It used to be called The Color Code, but now it's been revised to The People Code. Helps you understand your driving core motive. Helps you understand other people's driving core motive. Not their behavior, their core motive. And once you understand their core motive, it's a lot easier to figure out why they want to do something or not. Another book that can really help you is Why She Buys. Women are the biggest contributors to purchasing your product in whatever market you're in, because we buy with emotion. We buy based on a feeling. And this book is just so amazing at teaching you about that if you don't know about that. So, okay, show up on social media. Do not disappear. If you disappear posting about your product because you're having a rough week or a rough month or something's going on in your life, you're going to break that trust. Show up when you're on vacation. Show up when you are traveling. Show up when you're overwhelmed and you've had a really hard day. It doesn't have to be a long 2 hours in front of your screen. You could simply take a picture and say something like, "The kids really beat me up today. Tomorrow's a new day. I hope it's better. We can only go up from here." Post. Takes just a few seconds to write what's on your heart. And as you consistently write what's on your heart, people will have greater trust in you. They don't want to get involved with your network marketing company or your business or your product if they think it's not going to last. Why would they want to commit to something if they are unsure that you are committed? They don't. They want to do it because they know you're always going to be there to help them. They want to do it because they can see that it's your passion. They want to do it because they like you, because they like your message, because they like what you're putting out, and they feel like you care about them. And you can create that community on social media for the people that are interested in your life just simply by showing up consistently. Maybe you don't post every day. Maybe you only post 3 times a week. If you post 3 times a week, one of them needs to be about your business or your product. If you are posting 7 days a week, I would say 2 times bare minimum about your business or your product. Share your story. Share your experience, even though you think everybody has heard it. They haven't. Share other people's stories, other people's experiences, because your story is not always going to resonate with every person that you talk to. For example, my story is not going to relate to everyone because I'm a tired mom who had weight loss. and mood issues. That's not going to relate to everyone. But as I've shared stories about my friends who've had help with X, Y, and Z, I'll have people that will say, I had no idea it could help with that. And I say, oh my gosh, I know. Isn't this so amazing? Because I shared those stories. They connected with someone who didn't think it could help with that. Show up consistently. Don't disappear. Don't hide. You have the chance to be the ripple effect in people's lives. I sat in church today cleaning out my bag, and I found 3 notes that people on my team wrote me after a retreat that we did this summer. And in the note, I had one person that said to me, we were literally planning my funeral. I was planning my funeral with my husband. And because of these products, my life was saved. And because you show up for me as a leader on the good days, the bad days, when you don't feel like it, when it's hard, I have my life again. You have the opportunity to be that person in someone else's life, and you are wasting it if you are hiding and not showing up consistently. So for me, going to the gym 2 times a week for a year, that's consistent. But for someone else, maybe 6 days a week is consistent. Pick a pace that you can stick with consistently and show up in that way so that no one has to guess whether you are in or out. If they are wondering if you're in, they can't trust you. They can't buy from you. They're going to go to someone that they can trust, that shows up consistently, that's built that trust with them. You can be perfect in this. You can be perfect in building trust. And as you are, the longer you do this, I would say you consistently showing up, sharing stories, yours and other people for 6 months is going to make a tremendous difference in your business. Because as you're sending out private messages and you're posting consistently for 6 straight months, you're going to have people that are going to start to hunt you down for what you have because they're going to buy into what you're doing because you are not going anywhere. Bye, guys.